You're in my spot. Hi. Today we're gonna talk about why I quit YouTube. Whether you've known me from the beginning or this is your first time ever seeing me, this video is gonna have the juicy details. And whether you care about me or not, if you're interested in YouTube at all, you're gonna get some insight into the way YouTube works and why I did things the way I did to grow as quickly as I did. Now, I wanted to post this video a lot sooner. I was afraid because I was concerned with what it would do to my channel. I did not think that it would do well on YouTube. However, now I don't care. Haha, yes. No more self-censorship over here. Woo! Now, in order to understand why I quit, you have to know why I started. So a lot of you don't know I have a second channel, and that is actually a secret I kept on purpose. It was never a secret, but I never tried to promote it on this channel much, and many people to this day still don't realize it exists. Which is funny, because that channel is actually bigger than this one. Let me take you on a journey. This is all stuff I kind of plan on saving for maybe a really special video, but since I quit YouTube, I guess there's no time like the present. But we're also gonna talk about whether or not I'm coming back to YouTube, so it'll all come together in the end. So I actually made my very first YouTube video in 2007. I made it to enter a contest, and I felt super awkward being on camera. I remember cringing really hard as I was editing my video. I had a very hard time watching myself and hearing myself talk. But despite me finding the video cringeworthy, it got 30,000 plus views, which back in 2007, that was a pretty huge deal. It was actually big enough that when YouTube opened up the partner monetization program, they offered for me to join. And I remember getting the email and I was just kind of like, ew. It's funny, I don't know why that was my reaction, but I was just like, why would I want to make money from this? This is so weird. No. And I just ignored it. And man, would my life be different had I just started YouTube then. So I watched YouTube for years, never had any desire to join. But then in 2014, I had been working for Apple, and I left and started working for a small startup in Boston. And while I was there, they had Twitch. They had links to Twitch streams posted around the office. Serendipitously, at the same time, an indie game came out called The Forest. And I really wanted to play with my coworkers, but having worked for Apple for 3 years prior, I didn't have a PC anymore, so I didn't have a gaming computer to play the game. And I would try to play it on my work laptop, but it was a really choppy experience. If you've ever gamed on a laptop that's not meant for gaming, you know it's really kind of not very fun. So I started watching videos of The Forest on YouTube, and I came across a couple YouTubers, actually one in particular. His name is Andrew Oscar Delta. Loved him, still to this day, wish he would come back to YouTube. Regardless though, I was watching his videos and I felt like his personality was kind of similar to mine, and I was like, I think I could do this. Now, throughout my entire life, if people ask me, what would your dream job be? My answer was always, get paid to play video games all day. And not as a game tester or anything, because that doesn't count. That's not really playing for fun. So long story short, right before I left that startup, I decided I'm gonna buy everything to build a gaming PC. And I built it. And it just so happened that a week later, I left that startup. And the day I left is the day I tried uploading my first gaming video on my YouTube channel, Instagamer. Now, I'm being totally transparent in this video. I've always been transparent, but I didn't talk about this stuff a lot because there's always judgment around people who do YouTube for money. But I'm not young. I had to make a living and support myself, and I was like, if I'm gonna work my butt off, why not do it for something I really love and would enjoy? So I did this, uploaded that video, and started uploading a video every day after. Now, I never thought the channel would actually grow. I was just doing this and thinking it would be fun. But we all know that growing on YouTube, which the last time I checked had over 8 million active channels, and that was a couple years ago last time I checked, so I'm sure now it's way higher than that. You know, you never think you're actually gonna grow on that. But for some reason, I've always had a knack for growing on social media. At first it happened accidentally, but then I learned how to do it pretty quickly. And, you know, I ended up growing my channel to 10,000 subscribers in less than 2 months. And at that point I thought, man, I've really got something here. I shouldn't let this go. And side note, my most fun time ever on YouTube, probably, at least with that channel, was when I had around 4,000 subscribers. 4,000 subscribers and under. If you hear jingle bells in the background, it's my cats. But anyway, my favorite time was when I had less than 4,000 subscribers, because at that point I always recognized if somebody who was commenting on my channel was new, and I actually knew everyone really well. And back when I was a small YouTube channel, everyone was so friendly. People are always so anxious to grow on YouTube, but I'm telling you, the best time you're gonna have on YouTube, unless you become, you know, a PewDiePie, which I can't speak to what that feels like, but the best time you'll have on YouTube is when your channel's small, because that's when it's most supportive. Just like the best time you'll have uploading videos is within the first hour you upload them, when everyone's supportive. After that, all the haters start coming. So anyway, running a gaming channel was really fun, and it was awesome to have such a personal connection with everyone. Everyone who watched, and those who watched really frequently, it was like a very close friendship. We got to know each other so well. I'm still personal friends with, you know, these people on Facebook to this day. And we still care about each other even though I haven't uploaded on that channel in a while. Well, at least until today when I'm uploading the complimentary video that goes with this one. But then a dark time came across YouTube. And this was the period of reaction channels. Now, love them or hate them, I say it was a dark time for YouTube because there was so much controversy around it. Reaction channels were booming. While the content on reaction channels is fairly easy to make. So there was a lot of hatred in the community towards them, saying that they were ripping off people's content and growing off the back of better content while not adding much to it. Now, I both agree and disagree with that statement. As with most content on the Becky Boop channel, you know, I tend to look at both sides of an issue. But that aside, you know, the thing that a lot of people don't realize about having a YouTube channel is just like working a regular job, you kind of start to get pigeonholed after a while, which, by the way, is why creators like PewDiePie are so amazing to me, because he continues to innovate and not get stuck in a YouTube rut, despite the fact that the YouTube algorithms want you to get stuck in a rut producing the same type of content. If you have successful content, YouTube wants you to keep producing that content and not really experiment, because that content is what's been proven to perform well on the website. So me, overachiever that I am, was like, well, being successful with one channel doesn't really mean much, because even though I know I got there through hard work, I wanted to prove it to myself, because anybody can get lucky. I wanted to prove that I had skills. So I created a second channel and didn't really tell people on my main channel about it. Some people knew if they really paid attention, but I didn't talk about it much, and I absolutely didn't promote it. Most people would be like, why didn't you promote it? You could have gotten an influx of views that would have shot this channel up. Well, first of all, I didn't want to, because I wanted to prove that I could do it from scratch again. But second, I didn't want the viewing habits of my first channel, I didn't want the viewing habits of the viewers from my first channel coming over to my second channel, because that would affect the way the algorithms would treat it. So didn't really tell anyone, and started doing videos as Becky Boop as a reaction channel so that I could test the algorithms. Now, this is the first big secret of the Becky Boop channel. No one realized, who came across that channel, that that kind of wasn't really me. Now, I'm a terrible actress, but I am really good at emphasizing certain parts of my personality. So if you were to go to my channel for Becky Boop and sort the videos from oldest to newest, you'll notice that my first videos look quite a bit like this. Because I was testing the algorithms and wanted to try to grow the channel as quickly as possible as a reaction channel, I relied, of course, on one of the oldest tricks in the book, which is showing as much cleavage as possible. which by the way, I'm not trying to do today on purpose. I mean, I was a second ago to make a point, but just wearing a dress so it happens. Anyway, the channel did start growing very quickly as a reaction channel, and then the Fine Brothers React World scandal happened. And there was so much misinformation out there. People talking about copyright instead of trademarks, totally turning the law upside down. People yelling and screaming about it, and being a reaction channel at that point, I felt I had an opinion worth hearing, plus legally. Oh, hi Alice. Baby. She's purring. Plus legally, I felt that I could do a really good job of explaining it. I happen to be very interested in legal nuance on a lot of issues. I've just always been super interested in legal topics and computer and tech topics. So anyway, after seeing all this misinformation out there, I decided to make a video. And I remember it was within something like one day, it had 44,000 or something views. It went crazy, and more information kept coming out on the topic, and I kept making videos on the topic, and I actually got some of the best comments in my life, not just on YouTube, but in my whole life. Just some compliments that really meant a lot to me, saying, you know, that I explained this in ways that other people didn't, that I took a tough, you know, topic and helped make it less complicated, and that I was rational about it, and that they liked how I broke it down and took a fair look at it. Kind of a pun there because I was talking about fair use, but it was literally overwhelming in the best way possible, where I was getting hundreds of comments saying, please make more content like this. And the funny thing is, you will hear so many YouTubers say that the key to success on YouTube is to be yourself. And every single time you hear it, you will roll your eyes and be like, that is so cliche. Give me the juice, spill the tea on how to actually like play the numbers, play the algorithms, give me like the nitty gritty logistics. But no, the truth really is you have to be yourself. And on every channel I'd had up to that point, or I shouldn't say every channel, but every attempt I'd had at creating content, I was always just a part of myself. On my gamer channel, I was just always friendly and approachable, and as a result, I usually never talked about things like the fact that I went to school at Harvard, and I want to say I acted stupid, because I didn't, and I like to think that my puns, while stupid, were also hilarious. But I definitely never went into deep intellectual detail on things. And when I started Becky Boop, I definitely regressed even further in terms of, I don't want to say being a vapid character, because I wasn't, I was still myself, but all I was doing was finding the most viral content on the internet that was trending and reacting to it. And most of the time it was laughing and wearing a low-cut shirt. I mean, there was a ton of skill involved on the algorithm side of things for what I was doing, but as far as what I was doing on camera, not so much. But then when I started making that other content about React World, that was the first time that I was fully like just being me. I wasn't trying to be entertaining. I wasn't trying to do a bunch of fancy edits. I was doing what I always do in real life, which I translated into what I was doing on screen, which is when I have an argument or a debate or I voice my opinion, even with an opinion usually, but especially when I'm speaking about something factual, I love to provide my sources. As you guys now know, if you didn't know before, I have a pretty strong academic background, and even without the academic background, I just believe that if you provide your sources for things, people might not believe you or agree with you, and that's okay, but at least they can see your point has merit. It's not untrue, it is factually based. And that format really took off, and I don't really think it's a surprise, considering that in today's day and age, and especially on YouTube and on social media, to grow, generally the more polarizing you are, the faster you will grow. In my case, I always grew from controversy, always. It's a natural gift. What can I say? On my gaming channel, I was controversial just because I was a female gamer who happened to be gaming during Gamergate, and I was not part of Gamergate at all, but I still got some of the backlash from stuff that was going on then. And then of course, just with my body type, it just, gamers on YouTube, you know, the same way that across YouTube everyone tends to complain YouTube isn't a job, go get a job, go get a real job. You know, in the gaming community it's like, put on some more clothes. Whatever, it is what it is. This is what happens on the internet. There are all different levels of intellect, and you have to choose what audience it is that you care about. So anyway, when I started making that content for the first time, it was really just me being me, and I adored making that content. My channel was booming. I understood, I don't want to say how to play the algorithms because I wasn't doing anything wrong, you know, but I was growth hacking. I knew exactly what I needed to do to grow, what type of content I needed to make, and I had finally stumbled into an audience that appreciated the content that for me came completely naturally because it was just me being me. And this, by the way, is like right now is me totally being me. Like I'm not doing all the fact-based stuff in the background, but this is just me, you know? And this type of video is the type of video I was terrified to make while I was growing my channel because I knew what type of content YouTube wanted to see, and this wasn't it. So as much as I wanted to share things like this, I didn't, because I didn't want to jeopardize the growth I had on my channel. So now, finally, we get to the reason why I quit. Now, there are personal reasons as well, which I will explain in the video at the end of this video for people who care. But as far as the YouTube reasons go, you know, one of my last videos on here was saying that this may be the end, and I opened up a Patreon, and that was in December, and not of 2017, of 2016, just before the adpocalypse. I've always kind of had, I'm really good at calling trends before they happen, and I got out before a lot of people did because I saw what was coming, and I was really good with the algorithms, and I still knew what kind of content I could make to keep growing, but it was not content with the integrity that I personally hold myself to. It didn't meet my own personal standards, and as much as some people will do anything to grow on YouTube, I am not one of them. Because videos that you put on the internet, anything that you put on the internet is there for life. And I didn't want to put anything out there that I was not 100% proud of, especially considering that past employers and potential employers see it. And considering YouTube can get pretty crazy when it comes to stalkers and death threats, especially when you start doing controversial content that is about content and topics that affects people's lives, and they get really into it and defensive about it. I'm very thankful that I have a Alice is back. I'm very thankful that I have a very intellectual audience on this channel, but that doesn't mean that everybody is rational. And so the last thing I wanted to do is start making more polarizing content that I didn't fully believe in and putting my neck on the line just to grow on YouTube. If I had to sell my soul to make money, I would not be doing it on YouTube. I would just go get a regular soul-sucking 9-to-5 job. But anyway, so to get really real for a second, I'll talk about this more in my video on my other channel, but it was really depressing realizing that YouTube, the way I envisioned it, was not going to continue to work if I didn't want to make the changes I had to for the algorithms, because I was doing YouTube full-time for a living, and you know, you gotta, when you're doing that and relying on it for your income, it eventually comes to a point where, you know, just like any job, you end up having to do things you don't like for the money. But I always decided that if I have to do things I don't like for money, I'll do it for some serious money and not YouTube money, which was you know, you can make a living from it, but it is not an easy living, contrary to what a lot of people think, unless you're a very lucky creator who got big doing very simple content. So seeing those changes coming down the line, I quit. Now, I never intended to leave as abruptly as I did. There were some other issues. I had some personal issues and stuff that like I said, we'll talk about in my video on my other channel. But as far as YouTube is concerned, I didn't plan to quit that abruptly, but it's what ended up happening. And as many of you know, things have only gotten worse on YouTube. We've had the adpocalypse, we have had the YouTube shooting, which still, it just blows my mind that things have escalated to this point with YouTube. And it's very sad because this platform did so much for me. It gave me a voice, which is one of the most powerful things any person can have. And it gave me a bunch of people who listened to my voice, which I will forever be thankful for. But the question is, considering things have gotten so much worse, why am I bothering coming back to make this video? So am I gonna come back to YouTube? What's going on? So let's talk about that. I am not a YouTuber anymore, but I will still make YouTube videos. Let me explain the distinction. Since I started YouTube and since I had about 10,000 subscribers, which to me was the threshold of considering myself a real YouTuber, everybody has a different definition of what that is. But ever since then, back in 2014, I was very proud to tell people I was a YouTuber. Not anymore. I still love the platform, and you know, it's like a relationship when it's time to break up with somebody and it's very hard because you love who they used to be, but they're not that person anymore. That's how YouTube is now. But after I came back to make, this is total real talk, okay? Like this is, I've always believed in transparency, and now that I don't care what YouTube does with my channel because I have nothing to lose anymore, I'm just saying it. I would trade all of my subscribers, which at the time I'm making this is somehow still over 18,000. When I left, it was over 20, somewhere around 23,000. I honestly, I cared about the numbers on this channel, but I also didn't because it was always experimental to me. But when I came back and made that video on the YouTube shooting, that is not how I plan to come back. I'll just say right now, typical hate comments on YouTube. I had plenty of comments that are like, oh, this is disgusting. She came back just to talk about a shooting after being gone for so many years. Here's actually a picture of that comment. And this is from another YouTuber, by the way, which made it really sting, because when viewers say that, it's one thing, but when a YouTuber says it, it stings because other YouTubers know the struggle. So if you have a YouTuber calling you inauthentic, honestly, to me, that kind of hurts. And me and Joe are gonna squash that beef this week on Thursday. Think we're gonna do a podcast together and have a little chatty chat. For the record, that video was not monetized, and none of my videos on this channel are monetized anymore. But that is something I will talk about in another video. But when that YouTube shooting happened, I spent hours on Twitter speaking with other YouTubers. All of us, we were so shocked, just trying to make sense of it. And in hindsight, it's very clear why it happened and, you know, what some of the implications were and the context around it. But at the time, you can't help but feel shocked. I know a lot of people over at YouTube HQ, and it was a shocking and traumatic event for everyone, for YouTubers, for the people at the headquarters, and for the YouTube community as a whole. But when I made that video, I was really shocked that people still watched after I was gone for going on a year and a half. That's pretty insane. And it was extremely controversial, the video. What else is new? To me, it doesn't seem like it should be that controversial, but I'm a contrarian, so. Right, baby? You know. Alice. But after I made that video, it made me realize how much I missed you guys, because I don't care if people agree with me. That has never been my goal with this channel. My goal was always just to start a conversation around topics that I consider to be important. I'm gonna talk about all that in an upcoming video this week where I talk about monetization on YouTube and the future of this channel. But the future of Becky Boop as a whole, and me as a whole, and my relationship with you guys on the internet as a whole. Cat City in this video. I am going to keep making videos, but not as a YouTuber. So I will still make videos and post them on the YouTube platform, but the difference is before as a YouTuber, I'd always be like, oh, I want to do more stuff on Patreon and Twitter and Facebook and Minds.com and all these other places. And every time I would go to make content for elsewhere, because the content that works well on YouTube doesn't necessarily work well on Facebook, which doesn't work well in other places. You have to kind of make individual content for each platform. But every time I'd go to make content for another platform, YouTube is such a bottomless hole that I would always feel guilty that I wasn't spending the time on YouTube. Like, oh, YouTube is where I want to grow. YouTube is where my audience is. So why am I wasting time on Facebook when my audience is here? And it's very clear in hindsight, although I shouldn't even say that because so many people are still singularly focused with tunnel vision on YouTube, but I'm not. So I will still be a content creator, but instead of referring to myself as, you know, as a YouTuber, you know, at this point I'm just gonna call myself an internet personality, I guess. Or the cutest one I actually ever heard was when I was referred to at an event as an internet celebrity, which is super cute, but it could sound a little pretentious. So I'm not gonna describe myself that way, but you know, I'm just an internet personality and every platform is my platform. Forget just focusing on YouTube, and who knows what platform will take off, if any of them. What's important to me is developing relationships with you guys where you'll follow me to whatever platform because you don't care what platform it's on. You care about the content and the topics we're talking about and the fight for freedom of speech and no censorship and respect of different opinions, and the fact that totally polarized people on different sides of a topic can come together and actually have discourse where even if we don't change each other's minds, it exposes us to the other side instead of just being an echo chamber. So the short answer to that long question is yes, I am coming back to YouTube. Why are you scratching my butt? I'm coming back to YouTube, just not as a YouTuber. Just call me an internet personality. Just call me Becky Boop or Rebecca Prince, my real name. But I'm not a YouTuber anymore. I'm just a person with an opinion who wants to share it with you. Anyway, this was a super long video, but once again, don't care about the YouTube algorithms anymore, so hey, doesn't matter. I just wanted to share this with the people who wanted to hear it. You know, if you look at my channel, you'll see my videos always had explosive views. I mean, God, there were times I had, you know, less than 4,000 subscribers and would get over 100,000 views on a video. And the content was designed that way, but Alice. But that's not my goal anymore. I don't care if a video gets 100 views. I would rather have 100 views of people who are really invested and really supportive of the content. By supportive, I don't mean agreeing with my opinions. By supportive, I mean agreeing with what I stand for, which is open debate and conversation and focus on important topics and helping people understand them and bringing those topics to a wider audience, despite censorship and whatever challenges we have. That is what I want to cultivate. So videos like this, if they only got 100 views, but those 100 views or even a percentage of them have a serious impact on somebody, that's all I'm looking for. And so moving forward, my content's not going to be the way it used to be. That content was honestly very difficult to produce because everything, even though it came naturally to me, it was still time consuming, and it was my competitive advantage was being able to produce this well thought out researched content very quickly in time for trending events before they were no longer relevant. So I had just the right level of production in my videos. But now I'm not trying to make every video a winner the way I was. I'm just making videos, and if you like them, you like them, and if you don't, you don't. You don't have to watch every video. Pick and choose what's interesting to you. If you have questions or thoughts or comments or want to share your experiences with YouTube, please feel free in the comments below. You know, I would really like to interact with you guys more. I was always so focused on not wasting a second in my videos, so as not to mess up the algorithms and not have watch time drop off. The algorithms get quite complicated when you're using them as your method of growth for your channel on YouTube. But, you know, I actually want to interact with you guys far, far, far more. So if I see interesting comments on this video, I might just make another video about them. And, you know, not everyone has to watch it, but the people who are really interested in that discussion aspect, we could have more of a discussion. There's going to be a lot more live streams and podcasts even, and just different formats. I really want to experiment. Cats, man. I really want to experiment and be free, like my cats who break the fourth wall. So let's do a super cliche YouTube sign off for nostalgia. If you liked this video, please smash that like button. If you don't like it, please smash that dislike button. I don't care. I'm just happy that you care enough to hit something and you know, interact in some way. I'm extremely motivated and have so many videos I want to record, so you'll probably be seeing quite a bit in the coming days. And let me know all your thoughts, because I've really, really, really missed hearing them. I'll talk to you guys soon.